Hello, and I am Rob Davidson, and I'm going to talk about mind mapping today. Mind mapping was something I learned while I was in college and I've continued to use, and I find very helpful. Mind mapping is a way to kind of flesh out ideas for whatever you need to do. So, mind mapping. So, what is mind mapping? So what is mind mapping? It's a visual form of note-taking using represented words, ideas, tasks, and items linked to a central key, word, or idea. Okay? It's part of the visual thinking. And what is visual thinking? Okay? Visual thinking is seeing, imagining, and drawing, reflecting a visual mind. It's like thinking inside your head of something you're going to visualize to do. And I'll explain that. Okay? So, part of mind mapping, you're using pictures to solve problems, which is part of the visual thinking that I mentioned a moment ago. Thinking about complex ideas, communicating effectively. This is, okay. The idea of mind mapping, the inventor of this, is a British gentleman, Tony Bazan, I guess it's pronounced. You can find him online. He goes into mind mapping more in depth than I do. What I'm trying to present is a journal, basic idea of it, what I use. But if you want to look up online, you can go really in depth. But I'm just teaching the basic fundamental concept of this. Okay. I love this idea. This idea came out of mind mapping, Dummies for Mind Mapping, actually from the author. And I love this idea because it's taking mind mapping and just kind of going with it. That's not really how mind mapping is supposed to be, but it's kind of humorous. He's going from, I don't know what the logic to cartooning, and so it's a little, so. Mind mapping, you don't have to be an artist. The idea is you're drawing things out visually to get the concept. It's not about perfection, it's just to flesh those ideas and get them out and think about them. Okay? The easiest way to do this is pen and paper, anything you can write on. Okay? So, example would be like this. And I'll explain this more in a moment. Okay. So the other option is to do by computers. However, when you're doing computers, if you don't get the concept of mind mapping, it can be very overwhelming. And that's why I'm trying to teach the basic fundamentals, because when you get the computer end of this stuff, it looks neater and everything, but if you don't get the concept, it's like, it gets kind of crazy. Okay. The mind mapping helps with the brain, as it is part, as we know, there's two parts of the brain. The right side, which is your creative side, which is your big picture, rhythm, color. That's the creative side of your brain. Okay? Then the left side is your logic side, which everybody knows: logic, numbers, words, details, all these items, okay? That being said, and what I'm expressing on this idea, that mind mapping is not flowcharts. Flowcharts like this, which probably everybody's familiar with, is left brain, the logic side. Mind mapping is the right side of the brain. It's a creative side. You're not thinking logically with all these little compartments and those kind of things. Okay. So what is mind mapping used? Helps brainstorm ideas for corporate blogs, control time management, create a resume, meeting notes, mind mapping for business. These are things you can map out to use mind maps for. All these items. Okay? So, let's take one of those ideas, planning a website. Okay? So we're going to think of a website that we need to build. Okay? And then, let's say we have a client. This person wants a website. Okay? Mr. Basenji. Okay? Mr. Basenji wants a website. Okay. So Mr. Basenji has his company. He wants to create a website for a dog company. And I kind of wrote this up. So the idea is Mr. Basenji is expanding his company and he wants to grow, but he's not able to grow because he's outdated in his website. So he wants you, the client, someone who's going to work on his website, to do so. Okay. So how do you do a mind map? Now that I've talked about all the parts of it. So to do a mind map, you have to start in the middle and draw an essential topic or an idea. Okay? Okay. From that, you're going to branch off in the middle. Okay? So there's essential. It doesn't matter whatever you want it to be. I mean, it could be buying a car for that much. You know, you're going to get a new car. Okay? So you're going to branch out from this idea. Okay? In this example, I'm showing is the online dog store. And what is this online dog store going to have? It's going to have grooming, products, pharmacy, name of the website. What I'm showing here, it could be whatever the topic wants to be. It doesn't really matter. Okay? So you branch out from the idea. Okay? And then from there you branch out from the subcategories from here. So now you have the online, you got grooming, the website name, products, pharmacy. Okay? Okay, so you're going to have subcategories, shampoo, brushes. So as you're building this website, you have tabs for these items. What do you want in those if you're building a website, for example? And this is just a way to think about an example of building a website. What are you wanting to build? So here's an online website, and these are the things you're thinking about. Like, what do you want to sell on the website? You're thinking of a web name. Because Mr. Basenji wants you to create a new product line, all this stuff. Okay? Okay, and then you branch out from the subcategories. Okay, so you're just branching out. That's the idea of mind mapping. You start from the middle, you're branching out. You're taking the central idea. Let's say it's a new car, and you want to look at cost, color, style, type of car. Okay, let's say you want to spend this much, but then, you know, what can you get for this much? You know, color, you know, do you want a red car? Do you want a blue car? White? Okay, style, do you want a Jeep? Do you want a van? Do you want a, I don't know, a small car? What's that?
A Maserati.
Yeah. Expensive car, sports car. Okay. Okay. I guess that'd be style. Well, maybe leather. Maybe that should be type. Okay, there's type. You know, maybe style will be, you know, you want leather, all those features. Whatever the case might be. Okay. So in this example, same thing. You got an online dog store. These are some of the stuff you want online. You got to think of a name. It could be whatever you want it to be. Okay. Okay. So for example, We're working on the website name, and one idea was think of maybe nursery rhymes, as in, kind of get some ideas out. Bone, paddywhack, famous dogs, Spot, Buddy, okay. Maybe online you want to consider maybe you're selling dry food, wet food, treats, bones, chews, chew toys, those kind of things, okay. If you're using this, if you're using like a computer-based one, it might create something like this. But again, you don't have to use, you can do this on paper with a pen or whatever, so you don't have to go with a computer. Probably if you're doing a presentation. So with that, I came up with that example, like I was talking about paddywhack, so the product line is going to be called Paddywhack and Bone. And then here are the things I was thinking in mind mapping, the products, the grooming, pharmacy, some examples. So by doing the mind mapping, thinking this stuff out, kind of flesh these ideas out before building. It could be for web design, it could be for going on a family vacation, whatever. It's just thinking these things out. So. Okay. So in mind mapping, here website, it gives you some ideas. They're really crazy ideas that people done with mind mapping. You can, if you want to go with the software, there's different types of software mind mapping. You go the computer route, you can purchase it, you can get a monthly or free subscription, you can get them on all your devices now. Believe it or not, BlackBerry is still alive. There's even one for BlackBerry. There's web-based ones, and there's a lot of resources. But again, what I was trying to show was just the basic parts of mind mapping. So if you understand the basic, it would help. Because where it gets really complex with some of the stuff online, copy this. It has like colors and pictures added, and it gets. But if you get the fundamental ideas, it'll make more sense. So, anybody have any questions or?
What kind of software do you recommend?
To be honest, I had messed with a couple. I messed with the ones for Android. I think it was called Mine is one I worked with. Believe it or not, OneNote, which is by Microsoft, does it, but I've never used it.
What is it called?
OneNote, which is Microsoft, which
Yeah.
I've never used.
I use one of those.
Yeah. So, it's hard to say because all these have different features. The ones on, if you get a computer base, because they can be catered to like a certain type of business. There's all kinds of. Just kind of have to look around and see what works for you. Some of them are free. I think which ones are free. Okay, these are free right here. And then some are web-based that you pay a monthly fee. I think some are $8 a month or some, or more. So, and then my website. Any questions?
So, so what it does is it actually, those websites, they think for you?
No, what the website does
They
is,
guide you towards-
yeah, so instead of doing this on paper, the program will say, okay, what is your central idea?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they'll ask you subcategories, and it'll do the mapping for you. Instead of you taking it on paper and drawing a circle like this,
Yeah.
it'll generate that for you. Some of the stuff that the computer ones can do, it'll actually like color code these lines. You can actually add pictures. Let's say you were doing this on a computer with a new car. You could actually put a picture of a car on this.
Oh.
You can change the color of the circles, the lines. It gets,
Okay.
it can get really fancy and all
The
that.
computer one would be really good if you're submitting it to a client.
Yes.
Especially a client that doesn't know what the hell they want, which seems to be all of them today.
Yeah.
And then that way they can visualize, because no one can visualize.
And this is a good idea. Yeah, like we're saying, it's a good way to visualize. And being honest, especially like the ones on the web, you can send to the client, and they can look at, oh, okay, there's a picture of a car or whatever represents this. You know, like maybe there's a color swatch that represents this type. You know, you could put like text here. I mean, it gets really crazy. But it's nice for the client to see that. And plus they can, go on the web and get it. You don't have to. So, any other questions?
It's opened up a whole new idea, because you, like you said, you read about wire frames and stuff. This is, more practical
Yeah,
for brainstorming.
For
and just kind of.
Yeah, and the nice thing I like when you're dealing with it, when you're handwriting this versus computer, sometimes I always say this is the most useful tool. I mean, computers are great, I love it, but sometimes you just got to break away from technology and just get back to, okay, what do we want to do? And it's a good way to brainstorm for me. Once I do this, then I can do it on a computer later. But I can think this stuff out instead of, okay, what key do I have to push and blah, blah, blah. It's a good way to flesh this out and just detach from this and not worry about colors and pictures and saying, here's my idea. And it's a good way of thinking this out.